How's it going, folks? Welcome back. We're here with the day 4 of World Championships. It's the end of the first week, so we'll probably do another video recapping the week and sort of the what to take away from the week and look forward to for next week. But for today, we're going to go ahead and break down these 6 games that we got today. It was a very interesting game. Or a set of interesting games that we got here, so we're just going to jump right in. Game 1 was TSM versus LGD. LGD gave TSM the Mord, so I thought that was a little strange. It seems like LGD doesn't really respect the Mord ban, or doesn't think it's that much of a threat, or Imp feels like he can handle it. LGD is one of the teams that has been banning Mord, that's been allowing the other team to ban it. It seems like they're very comfortable with Mord going through the draft. But anyway, Mord didn't have the huge impact that we expected him to have throughout the entire game. He had a couple of really big plays. Wild Turtle had a couple of big plays. And certainly once they secured the Dragon, it was very apparent that that passive is so strong for sieging capabilities. But overall, throughout the entire game, he really didn't have that much of an impact. LGD played around it really well. We're able to slow him down or shut him down to a certain extent. Imp went full carry mode. He just really couldn't do it alone. Dyrus on Darius and Bjergsen on TF were just a little bit out of control. TVQ and Acorn were getting caught out quite a bit, especially by the TF. And so that was a little bit of a detriment to the team. Imp again was doing all he could on Callista, but there wasn't really much he could do. There's so much lockdown on the other side of the board with the TF, the slows from the Mordekaiser, the Darius pulling him back in, all that kind of stuff. He wasn't able to get the positioning that he needed. That being said, all the fights were extremely close. LGD was starting to make what could have been a comeback, but at the end of the day, it was just they weren't able to get the last bits of damage onto those fights. And yeah, they just weren't able to pull it out. Moving on now to KT versus Orihen. It was a really close game. One of the closest ones we've seen yet, and very smart drafts from both sides. You can really see like in the research and the mind games kind of going into that, into the entire series. Niels got banned away Callista, and just all kinds of just very smart picks and bans coming in from both sides. KT were getting a lot of really good kills on the map and a lot of good picks, but they weren't. All those kills and picks weren't being translated into objectives or map control. They weren't grouping very well. On the other side, Orihen, when they did win a fight, they were able to take control of the map and take objectives, take dragons, take barons, stuff like that. And again, KT was up in kills the entire game, and they really were in control once with skirmishes and small engagements and even some team fights. But they weren't able to, again, translate those into anything major or special. And so yeah, Orihen was able to win the game from just good objective control and map movement and rotations. Moving on now to Invictus Gaming against AHQ. Very back and forth game. Very back and forth game. IG got a really early Baron and then tried to take another one at around the, I think, 30-minute mark. And AHQ was able to steal that and turn it into kills. And AHQ was able to sort of stay in the game that way. IG won a late game team fight and just kind of pushed to win. It was definitely the best we've seen Kid and Kitties play. They weren't getting caught out. They were playing in sync with Rookie and Cacao, and Cacao was able to get some good ganks off and get them ahead pretty early. The team just looked good from the start, and Westdoor and Ziv weren't really able to do anything. It was really the first time too that we saw Westdoor's Fizz banned by IG. So it's interesting to see if teams allow him to keep doing that or ban him out. Really interesting there, but yeah, definitely the best we've seen IG play so far. Next we had Cloud9 versus Fnatic. It was a really bloodthirsty game. A lot of dives really early, 3-4-man dives, top, bottom lane, all kinds of just weird situations and kills and all kinds of stuff like that. That being said, there was only, I think, 2-2 throughout the entire early game. A lot of attempted dives and a lot of people trying to get things going, but just not able to finish it off, and both sides backing off a little. Fnatic was able to win team fights and were securing objectives. But Cloud9 was able to get or sneak or steal, or I don't know what the correct term was. They knew they were doing it. They just couldn't stop them. Cloud9 was able to get 2 Barons to keep them into the game and keep sort of to keep them in it. And then Balls was able to go ahead, or they were able to win a couple of big team fights off of those Baron kills. And then Balls got the first pentakill of Worlds and secured the game late. And they were able to push to win after that. So great comeback from C9. Fnatic again had control of the match. It was just a couple of those Barons were able to go ahead and keep C9 in the game. Next we had Coup Tigers against Counterlogic Gaming. CLG didn't play bad this game. CLG actually played this game really, really well. It's just Coup had better team coordination, and I mean that they were able to chain their ultimates, chain their CC. They had the Ashe, they had the Victor. They had a lot of different ways to engage, and they were using them beautifully, like Coup does. Really, with that team-oriented play. Once they started to group, there's really nothing that CLG could do. They were doing a great job of getting damage onto the right targets, prioritizing their targets really well, and then also, more importantly, giving those kills over to the right people, making sure that Kuro was able to get kills, Prey was able to get kills, all that stuff. Gorilla was playing like an absolute god, like he is. I think he's still probably one of, if not the top support player in this tournament, and he was doing great things on the Morgana. Pole Belter also lost lane really hard to Coup, or to Kuro, and so it gave Coup this gigantic victor to go ahead and rotate their team around, which was a pretty big deal throughout the entire game. They just couldn't deal with the victor. But overall, pretty simple win for Coup Tigers. Very, very well played. Again, CLG didn't play badly. It's just Coup was playing on a different level that we haven't seen yet this tournament, so I'm hoping that really does continue. I like seeing very, very clean play. Next was Pain Gaming against not Yowie Flash, it was Flash Wolves. It's a very back and forth game, real messy kind of a game. Both teams making questionable decisions, but questionable decisions at the same time. So one would go for a strange Baron or a very, very poorly timed Baron, and the other team would go for a Dragon instead of fighting for it. And things like that, just very, very 50-50 decisions from both teams, decisions that can go either way. And so through that, the entire game was pretty close. People were getting caught out. Again, just a very, very messy game. Pain was able to win a 5-for-1 Baron fight at around 40 minutes that let them win the game. But again, the match was really close up to that point. There's really not much else to say. That fight was pretty much the decision maker. Up to that point, it was pretty much up in the air. But yeah, guys, that's the day 4. Not too much happening there. If I had to pick a game of the day, I would say it had to be C9 Fnatic. That's definitely sort of the closest and most exciting game we've seen today. Also, the KT Orihen game was actually very, very good as well. You can really, that game was just fun from a mind game perspective. You can tell both teams really did their research, and it was fun to sort of see who did more research, and both teams played really, really well. But if you had to go with a really close series, it had to be the C9 and Fnatic series. But yeah, that's day 4. That's the first week of Worlds. If you want to go ahead and look back at any of the other days and what I thought about them, you can go back and look at those. I'll probably do another video as well. I'll probably do that right after this. Just sort of going over my thoughts of the first week of Worlds and what we can expect moving forward to the second week and the end of groups. But guys, please sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of Worlds.